Hello again. The class topic this time is classical music influences in progressive rock music. I've spoken already about how as we come forward in time and our access to information becomes so much easier, so much more readily available, there's much more cross-pollination, much more fusion of different musical styles. And you've already heard some of that with Ivo Papazov and his Bulgarian wedding music, John McLaughlin and his five-piece band, those sorts of things. The influence of classical music found its way into other musical styles as well. And tonight I want you to listen to a piece of progressive rock music. There's some supporting video that goes along with it, and I want to get your thoughts about it if you choose to write about it. So, the progressive rock band Yes. I expect maybe a few of you may be familiar with them. They concertized most actively from the late 60s, probably up until fairly recently, just a few years ago. And classical music is one of the driving forces in the way they created some of their pieces. Progressive rock music is characterized by more complex use of the various elements and music that usually is presented in much larger forms than a simple 3-minute strophic song form. So, there are several videos here that I want you to watch. They're all not very long. They will give you more insight into this particular piece, but also a more insight into the influence of classical music on rock music. So, the first thing that you'll hear is the way that this band used to begin their live shows. They would begin playing a recording from the end of The Firebird, which is a ballet score written by Igor Stravinsky. That's what you'll hear first. You'll hear the recording, the band comes out on stage, and at the end of the tune, there's a series of chords played by Rick Wakeman, the keyboard player, that modulate the key, the harmony, from the end of the Stravinsky into the key of this first tune, which is the one that I want you to focus on. It's called Siberian Khatru. And they will launch right into that, and you'll see a live version of the entire tune. Here's some information about things that led to the development of this genre of rock. There are many different genres of rock music nowadays. These are some of the things that led to the development of this particular style. Technology is part of it also, particularly the arrival of the synthesizer. Just as the piano, you'll remember, was a fantastic new instrument about 240 years ago, because unlike the harpsichord that preceded it, it could change volume. And that was a great new thing for people to listen to, something we take for granted now, but something that was very cool back then. The synthesizer works as the same as a piano, same keyboard and all of that, but you have infinite possibilities of timbre. You can change the sound of it. You can make a synthesizer sound like an oboe, or you can make it sound like a guitar, or you could make it sound like a piano. There are many, many different sounds, and musicians, classical, jazz, rock, and other genres as well take great advantage of this over the years. So, I want you to listen to a little bit of music, Bach Prelude, a very short piece of music. You'll hear it played on piano. And then this video shows the same music on synthesizer. It will give you a real clear idea of how the advent of the synthesizer in the 1960s hugely changed the way that we listen to keyboard music. Next, this is a video that you've already looked at. You can look at it a little bit again if you like. The aspect of music relating to virtuosity is very much on display in progressive rock music. In addition to larger forms, more complex harmony and textures, the display of virtuosity from the various musicians is a key element of progressive music. This is just a little reminder of that, Jordan Rudess being the keyboard player with Dream Theater in this particular video. Another example of music that undergoes transformation over the years. This piece of music, Pictures at an Exhibition, written by the Russian composer Modest Mussorgsky. He wrote this. He was inspired by visiting a memorial exhibition of paintings by a friend of his, Victor Hartmann, who had died at a young age, while Mussorgsky was walking around the gallery looking at his deceased friend's paintings. He was inspired to write a programmatic piece of music depicting a bunch of the different paintings. This opening section of it is just called a promenade, so it's like he's walking into the gallery. That's what it's trying to picture. And it's played on piano, which is the instrument that he wrote it for. Later on, Maurice Ravel, great French composer, orchestrated this piece. As we go from the late Romantic era into the 20th century, the art of orchestration, using the instruments of the orchestra to produce different colors, sonorities, that sort of thing, that becomes another aspect of the production of symphonic music. So Ravel takes Mussorgsky's piano music and fleshes it out for orchestra. You'll hear the same little bit of music played by orchestra as opposed to just on piano. Then this video will show you the same music produced by the power trio Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, with Keith Emerson playing the melody and most of the harmony on synthesizer, backed up by the other two gentlemen. All right, Greg Lake and Carl Palmer. There we go, and they even set lyrics to it. So just a transformation through different time periods of the same music. This pendulum theory is also important to think about. It relates to how people received music, decided to pay attention to it or not pay attention to it, relating to the popularity of different kinds of music, as well as many other things in our culture, history, politics, etc. Things drift towards one extreme, and they reach an extreme, it becomes too much for enough people that it starts drifting back the other way. Things pretty much never settle in the middle. At least that's the way things have been so far. So you can trace this in the development of rock music as well as all of these other aspects of culture. So finally, this is another version of the band performing the same piece, and you will see another live performance, but it'll be about 30 years later than the first one, with I believe the drummer is not the same, but I believe otherwise it's the same lineup. All right, here are the lyrics to the tune. As always, you're welcome to write about this if you like, and I tell you what I'd like you to write about. You'll have until December the 3rd to send that in. So I hope you get into this tune. It's one that I really like listening to. I wish you all safe travels on the way home and a safe time at home. And I hope that you'll be able to stay focused and continue to do good work through the end of the term. All the best.